Man coverage defense can be extremely effective in Madden 25, but if you don't know the secret principles to playing lockdown man coverage, you are screwed. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the different types of man coverage defenses, the best ones to use, as well as the secret shading techniques and blitzing principles you need to know to play lockdown man coverage defense. One of the most important yet overlooked parts of playing lockdown man coverage defense is knowing the differences between all the different types of man coverage plays in the game and how to properly set them up, the proper technique, shading principles, and blitz setups to use with each one. Now, there's three different main types of man coverage defense in the game. There's cover two man defenses, as we have here, which essentially has basically your underneath defenders in man coverage with the two safeties over the top. Most of the time, they're in deep zones. Now, you can compare this with the second type, a cover zero. A cover zero is basically going to have no safety help over the top, everybody manned up, and then the rest of the players blitzing. Now you can see this is a much different type of man coverage defense with much different techniques and shading principles we're going to be able to use combined with our pressure. The final type is going to be a cover one. Cover one is similar to cover two man, but with cover one man, instead of having two safeties over top in deep zones, basically have one safety playing center field, then the other dropping underneath, kind of in a robber assignment. Now, no matter how good your man coverage is, you do need pressure and you do need to know the secrets of shading. There are a lot of secrets of shading that average player doesn't know, and we're going to break down all these secrets of shading and blitz techniques with the three different types of man coverage. Now, I want to start with cover zero, and then we'll get into cover two man, etc. Cover zero is the most aggressive type of man coverage in the game because there's no safety help over the top. The good part about this is you can get quick pressure, but if you're going to run this, you have to know some simple rules when it comes to shading. First of all, guys, with cover zero, never shade your coverage underneath. You'll see when you hit the triangle or Y button to bring up your coverage adjustments, you can shade in, out, over the top, or underneath. In cover zero, never shade underneath. And one of the secrets to this is you can actually shade twice, which a lot of people don't even realize. You can shade in two different directions, which we'll get into later in the video. But the reason why you never want to shade underneath in cover zero is when you do this, your DBs are going to play a much more aggressive technique, but that results in free touchdowns over the top because there's no safeties that help you out. So if you're in cover zero, you really only want to shade inside or out. You don't want to press your coverage either, because if you press your coverage, you can just give up free wins on press animations. So you want to keep them backed up, and you only want to shade either inside or outside, never really over the top, or certainly never underneath. When you shade over the top, it honestly doesn't even do anything. If you keep them backed up, it honestly doesn't even help you. So you're better off just shading in or out as we do here. Now, no matter what type of man coverage you use, you definitely want to put your alignment set to default because it's just going to line up better that way. Now, my favorite cover two man style defense right now is out of the dime 3-2. Now, the reason for this is the dime 3-2 allows me to get a lot of DBs on the field, get good press animations, and also send pressure. So a lot of people think that with cover two man defenses, you can't send pressure. That's not true. Now, these are the best type of defenses to run for man coverage, in my opinion, because right now you have a lot of DBs that have universal coverage and bottleneck. That's going to give you dominant press animations, all the knockouts, KOs, whatever, and improve coverage on cuts. Now, when you first come out in a cover two man, you always press your coverage by hitting triangle Y down on the left stick. This is the big difference between cover zero and cover two man. You have the safeties over the top, so not only can we press, but we also have more options when it comes to shading. What I like to do is shade my coverage underneath by hitting triangle or Y and then down on the right stick. Now, when you shade your coverage underneath, you'll notice these DBs play a lot more aggressive on a trail technique. They're going to try to undercut these routes. This makes all these meta routes like corners and posts and all that very hard to throw because the DB is playing underneath them because we had the safety over the top. They're not really fearful of the deep ball. Now, that's only the beginning because I still need to show you how to get pressure and also some more shading secrets that the average player does not know. So the first thing I want to show is you can actually shade twice. So So most people just think you can shade once. Once you shade your coverage underneath, you can shade it a second time. You can shade it additionally inside or out after underneath. So once I shade underneath, I can hit inside or out. Like here, if I'm getting beat with routes over the middle, I would shade inside. If I was getting beat by routes to the outside, I would shade outside. Now, obviously, whichever way you shade, you're going to have to kind of defend the weakness of that defense, right? So like if I shade inside, I'd be watching for out-breaking routes myself. So knowing that I probably have good coverage over the middle, if I see a corner route, I'm probably going to go try to jump that and then bait back over the middle, knowing that, there should be nothing coming open. As you guys see here, there's nothing initially open. All I really had was waiting for a broken play. But this is why it's important to be able to know how to bring pressure as well. Because as I said, no matter how good the man coverage is, if you just give them all day, they'll eventually get somebody open. If you're looking to become a better Madden 25 player and win more games, check out sportsgamers.com. This is where I post all my premium content. You get all my offensive and defensive schemes, ebooks, weekly tips, blitzes, money plays, bombs, and more. I have all the best content available at the cheapest prices available anywhere. Sign up today for as little as $9.95. Click the link in the description. I also pinned it in the comments. Let's win more games and dominate together, boys. So all you really need to do to bring pressure is just blitz your linebackers down, take this one on the right, stand over the left guard, run into him at the snap, and you'll see easy pressure. Now, of course, I know the running back was wide open. So to take that away, all I really need to do is just bluff blitz the D end on the side of the running back like this, and you'll see if the running back goes out, that D end is going to go guard him, and we're still able to get pretty quick pressure. Wasn't as clean there. Still came in though. Now, the other big part about shading is most people don't understand there's individual and global shading. Global shading is when you shade your entire defense a certain way, like we've been doing with underneath, and then inside or out. Well, what if I want to shade globally, but then individually as well? Individual shading is when you just shade one player. So how is this useful? Let's say that we shade our defense inside, but then we notice there's one player that keeps running a corner route. Maybe the tight end is running the corner route. Everybody else is breaking over the middle. Well, after we shade inside, we can individually shade that tight end outside by hitting triangle Y, then X, or whatever your button is for individual, then the icon of that player we wish to individually shade, and then whichever way we want, left or right. This is huge because now we can shade multiple different ways and have an absolute cage on the field. So I shaded everybody in, then I shaded the tight end out. We bring the pressure, they're absolutely caged. Now, what about cover one? Cover one is also pretty effective from this dime 3-2. It is just a little bit riskier, like here, the cover one robber press. With cover one, you have to be aware that, you only have a safety in the middle of the field. So if I'm potentially worried about the outside left receiver going deep, that could be a TD. So with cover one, you have to just be aware this is a lot more risky defense. This is the type of defense you play if they're not really sending a lot of people deep on streaks, because you do only have one center fielder. Now with cover one, I'm kind of play the same way as cover zero, to where I prefer to shade underneath, right? And then inside or out. Again, though, I'm never going to do this if they're just the type of player to run a bunch of streaks, 4 verticals, because it's just too risky. But if I see that the person I'm playing doesn't do that, this is a great defense to call. Now, we can still set up pressure the same way, running into this guy right here. We don't have to do that if we don't want to. Like here, you guys see, pretty good coverage, right? I just watched the running back. Pretty good. You'll see the advantage of this defense versus the cover 2 man is we get the robber just kind of sitting underneath in the middle of the field. This is good against these types of dig routes or quick posts. Now you'll notice here, the corner route got open, and this is where you'd want to individually shade the tight end to the outside so this doesn't happen. Keep in mind, we do have the safety in the middle of the field. That will take away any sort of seam streaks, so that is an advantage to this one as well.